All right, hello. All right, looks like you guys can hear me. Yeah, of course I go to hit go, and yeah, Nvidia is like, oh, we're doing an update. I'm like, no, don't do it. Every time Nvidia updates, I lose sound, and I gotta go back in and like hit different things with broadcast. So yeah, fun. All right, so data came in. Pound data was not looking great at all, right? A little bit more negative than expected, right there. The average earnings down on a yearly basis, and you're seeing the euro pound up 24. Again, decent move there. Economic sentiment better than expected, but still negative, right? Again, I think that was kind of a bigger than expected miss there, and again, that's helping with the euro pound just a little bit as well. Um, Again, the fact that it's not as negative as expected, it's kind of helped the euro dollar a little bit as well. Now, the CPI data that came in, CAD data, pretty ugly, right? Expected to be still positive. The median CPI was down, the trim, the common. I think it's probably it. The fact that they got a negative number printed there on a monthly basis, and you're seeing everything else being lower than expected. I don't think they're going to have another raise this year. I think that they are officially. I think that's it. Unless I missed a headline where they said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we are going to raise one more time," and that's it. I think that's it. I think they're done. I think the cat is finished. Now the dollar data. So the core retail sales on a monthly basis. Not only, we had talked about it, being zero point 0.5. I was like, yeah, we're probably going to miss by just a little bit, right? I said zero point 0.5. They actually adjusted it to 0.9, and it came into 0.6. So, yeah, definitely a little bit higher than expected. The retail sales number right here. Again, we were talking about this is where we expected the zero point 0.5 from instead of the 0.3. And they raised it up. So we were still right. It was 0.1 off, right? Again, over double, triple as far as the actual core number itself goes. Question is, how do you take that? I mean, it could be a lot worse than it actually is today. I think Goldman's some of the earnings coming in are not what people expected. Kind of surprised. They're like, wait a second, aren't people making money? It's like, no, not really. The rates are too high. I heard a quote this morning. Mortgage rates are at a 23-year high. We went, 25 years or whatever, or 30 years or whatever it was with no inflation. So people are not really kind of accustomed to what it looks like. Yeah, 23-year high for mortgage rates. So banks are not liking that one as well. It hurts them a bit. But with all that data out there, and again, even industrial production on a monthly basis going higher. I mean, that's an orange figure, especially compared to everything else, but it's expected to be flat, and it was slightly lower than it was, but still positive. So looking at this, again, if you were the Fed saying, hey, listen, we're trying to make, do a fine line here. We don't want to hurt the economy. We don't want to hurt it. Again, if people are not spending money anymore, that's the true sign of like a recession coming. And it shows that people are still spending money, right? It may be on credit cards, but people are still spending money. So yeah, as far as the Fed goes, you're asking about, what data the Fed needs, because they said, hey, listen, it's going to be data dependent. Labor data, hotter than expected. Looking at retail sales spending, also hotter than expected. So besides the interest rate, affecting mortgages, yeah. I mean, if you're a Fed president, it's hard to say no, right? Tonight at 6:30, we're gonna get some RBA data or a speech, and then late night we're gonna get some Chinese data out there. The industrial production again holding firm. Um, we'll get GDP. We'll see what that goes, and obviously the retail sales. If the retail sales is actually picking up a little bit, that's actually a good sign for their economy. I don't know if they're going to go back to the 13 to 18% returns every year. I mean, that was obviously a little bit insane, and everybody knew it. They were driving, trying to drive that investment there, but we knew that that was going to be a little bit nuts, and it was, right? So we'll see. But industrial production good, retail sales good, all the labor was good, right? The CPI data last week good. All these things are saying another Fed raise. So some of these people saying, we're done. We shouldn't do it anymore. Again, what data are they looking at? I have no idea. Going into tomorrow, we have GDP. We have the pound CPI on a yearly basis. Expected to go down a little bit. Looking at the average earnings going down a little bit more. We'll see. Now, 6.6, is that where they want to be? No, not really, right? But it's better than where they've been, right? Just shows that they're not quite back yet. But again, they are very limited on what they can still do. We'll get some building permits. And again, building permits you see are slowly declining. We'll see. I don't think that's going to be at the end of the world. And then Waller and Harker both speaking tomorrow. Again, not big ones. And then I think the important one tomorrow on Wednesday, obviously, is going to be the employment change and employment rate for Aussie. Looking at that data, I'm kind of wondering. Again, I think that the Aussie may be done as well. We've seen some mixed data out of them, so I'm really kind of excited about that one tomorrow night. We'll talk about it, but I'm actually kind of looking forward to that one because there's kind of a big lull right now, right? And there'll be all the movement today from kind of the response to holy crap, right? People are still spending money. Didn't expect that, right? So that's kind of on the more kind of big shock side of things. So yeah. As far as other data, I mean, everything will be wrapped into that CPI and the retail sales numbers out there. Yeah. Things like this, though, are going to put a damper on the market. Iran warns of preemptive action against Israel, possible, in the coming hours. Now, that was 5 hours ago. So not necessarily, it says the coming hours, but maybe that's over, right? I don't know. Saying that they're expecting, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. Did they mean 12 hours? Did they mean 24 hours? Did they mean 3 hours? Haven't seen much out there. Haven't seen much there. And this is something that, again, the world's watching this, right? I mean, if Iran steps in, the United States is going to be forced to step in. China is becoming like the third party again on this one. China's already said Israel has gone too far. Biden has made comments about Israel going too far. If Iran steps in, again, it'll be because they believe that Israel has also gone too far. The World Health Organization has also said your 24-hour demand is absolutely ridiculous and it's impossible. I don't know. It's weird where it's going. And it's a very, very, it's very, very hard. I was thinking about it yesterday. And again, this is the markets are really looking at this because again, you talk about getting drug into, World War III. Doesn't appear that it's Russia and the Ukraine. It could be Israel, kind of overstepping what other countries feel is appropriate for their actions. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hard to really draw any comparisons too. For what happened in the past versus what's happening now. This is a big deal. This is one of those geopolitical events like we talk about that is very, very hard for the markets to kind of navigate through. I mean, is much going to change in the United States or our day-to-day lives? No, not really. Not too much will change out there. But on the flip side of things, what happens if Iran steps in? We start putting sanctions on the Middle East. Saudi Arabia gets involved with it. Again, if that region says, "Listen, United States, I understand you got to back them, but no, it's too much." Puts the United States in a weird situation, and then again, is it going to affect supply? And I think those are all great questions that we can't answer right now, and that's why geopolitical events really affect trading out there. So, yeah, I mean, this was 8 hours ago. I haven't seen anything. There's nothing else up here that says that they, haven't seen anything else out there right since that time. So don't know. It'll be kind of one of these. Oh, guess what just happened? And that's what makes them so difficult to trade. So again, use caution. Now you're seeing a lot of the market right now. We're not seeing like 100 pips in one direction right now, even with that just amazing US data out there. And it's because what? What are you doing? Oh, you hit the button again. Oh no. What are we doing? Here you go. You want something different? Here, you want Buster? What are you trying to find? What you want? What you want? Hold on, let me get him set up real quick. Here, you want this? Those are sisters videos. Here, what about this? You want any of these? You like any of those? You want this one? Okay, go sit. All right, well, don't get pissed. Go pick something else up. Here, here. All right, you take it. Go ahead. Yeah, he actually, we were playing yesterday. Totally was not like his intention. We were playing yesterday. I was like picking him up when we were swinging around and stuff, and he like tried to put his head in and like cuddle into me and hit my nose. Like obviously he didn't do it on purpose. Hit my nose in, I guess, the perfect angle for like the bottom side of it or something like that. But I heard my nose pop when he did it. Definitely broken nose. So my whole face hurts right now. I can't wiggle my nose. I'm like trying to like wiggle it and like itch it because it hurts, but that makes it hurt worse. So I'm like so much pain right now. But anyway, so you're not seeing the big movement right now. There was a lot of telltale market signs out there. You're seeing it really kind of rally in one direction just for the reversal when the news came out. So the market kind of, they kind of knew what was going to go on with this one. Hold on. What just popped up? Citibank banker fired for lying about 2 sandwich lunch expense. Yeah. That's where we're at now. Yeah, I'm lying about having 2 sandwiches instead of 1 for my expense report. But that's why we're not seeing like 100 pips in one direction because, again, the market is chopping back and forth, trying to figure out what the next step is, speculating what's going to happen next. Again, very, very easy to trade these setups when an hour and a half before the news comes out, it shoots in one direction just for the news to kind of support the reversal in the other direction. Okay. Let's go and look at the VIX. You're saying not massive movement in the VIX, right? Yesterday we saw it kind of drop and go down, which again was kind of expected. It didn't really move much. I mean, for something as big as retail sales, again, the consumer has kept the recession from actually coming. There's not a massive spike over here. There's a little bit. Right? But again, nothing that is just like boom, crushing. You're seeing the dollar. The dollar is up. There was obviously big movement, but what did the market do? Europeans stepped in here around 3:30, and what did they do? They shot it straight down in time for news, and then what did it do? Shot straight back up again. So all this movement and going from 106.50 down to 106.10, 40 cents down, 40 cents up. And again, we should see a little bit of a reversal now with profit taking coming in. Not quite a Harry Potter trade. And again, we're not really trading it Harry Potter. We just said, and anything else with the hits in here, you like this one. A little bit different being the dollar, obviously, right? Indices though, indices right now are split. Russell is up, 60, 0.66. ES and QYM all down. YM is about to go positive again. Manufacturing data is great for YM. But ES and NQ being down pretty big. I mean, you're looking at Apple and Tesla both down pretty decently, 189 and 2.4. But should the markets be absolutely just hammered today? And the reality is they may be because people look at it and see it, but the truth is, and again, this is why the Russell was more positive right now. Again, what drives the stock market? It's supposed to be earnings or companies making money. People are spending twice as much money as they thought. It's going somewhere. Yes, it's costing producers a little tiny bit more to make it, but these rates are double. Retail sales, they expected to be a 0.2 increase over what it was. It was a 0.6, 3 times higher, right? So again, people spending money is great for earnings down the road. I mean, the market is trying to prepare like, okay, we're going to go in a slight recession. They're going to hold rates for a long time. It's going to be really hard on households. Lending costs are high. Like I said, who wants that? Who wants to buy a car when there's like a 14% interest rate on it, right? Nobody, right? So yeah, all this data in here, it's kind of like, right? And that's why you're seeing kind of the indices. It's like, well, wait a second. Should they all be down 5% today? In all reality, no. I mean, retail sales is a great sign of what comes in the future, and the market is trying to prepare for what's happening in the future. So, yeah, could it turn negative? Sure, absolutely. If people are so focused on, oh my God, that was so bad. The reality is it wasn't that bad, right? It was actually good news. Could the Fed raise one more time? Yeah, obviously, but it's only going to be one more. They're not going to raise 2. Pretty much no matter what happens, it's not going to be 2. Yeah, are they going to hold it? Sure, but this data is not going to make them hold it any longer, right? It's going to depend on what it does next year, and they've said they're going to hold it for a long time. So, again, it doesn't really change much. Overall, my opinion is if the indices all decide that they want to roll back in the green, That's not the wrong way it moves. And again, the Russell's always going to be first. Commodities are split. So good news is natural gas is down again 1.2%. We are still holding above that. We're at basically 307 right now. It's at 3069, 86.96. We're kind of holding firm. We're at that 35.35 up. Now, gold and silver. Interesting that they are this high. Again, gold is up at the 1928 mark, up 0.4. Silver up 1.2. I think silver's up a little bit far right now. Kind of where it is. It's like, Um, I don't think it's justified to be up here just because the people are spending. Um, I think there are more signs that the Fed raises one more time than the Fed saying, that's it. Oh my God, people are spending more money. We definitely can't raise interest rates. I mean, that's the exact opposite of what really technically is what you would see. So, um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think silver's a little overexflated. I think people saw this as like, okay, inflation's coming back. Um, I think if anything, you want to be looking for short than silver. I don't know if it's just silver wanted to maintain its, you know, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe it's because everybody's overly shorting it, right? That could be another thing. But you can see at 22.93 or 22.92, we're playing with that 23 mark, but we know there's going to be a little bit of a magnet and sellers coming in there. So again, maybe that's what we're looking for. Again, a lot of reasons why. And I understand too, when we clicked on another post about Iran saying in the next few hours we're going to take preemptive strikes or preemptive actions, doesn't mean that they're going across the border, but maybe they're going to start moving equipment around, and again that will get everybody puckering a little bit. But they said buy gold. Yeah, gold is one of those things that is used to kind of maintain wealth, and it's also used as kind of like a flight to safety. If you have a hard currency, all countries take it, they use it. So it's gold is one of those things where yes, it's a safety type investment. Silver, no, it's not. It tries to be, it wants to be, but it's not the same. I would say of these two, it's kind of the same thing. Even though they're both used in industrial resources, when you see industry booming, you tend to see silver move more than gold. Even though in electronics, obviously, you're not using silver, you're using, you can melt down old cell phones and old computers and things like that and actually get gold out of them. You're not wasting the resources to get the silver out, but people will actually do it for gold, right? Moving across to the Aussie dollar. So again, Aussie dollar where it is, we were looking, and we even mentioned yesterday, listen, if we break through here, look for a pullback, and we draw it all the time, right? We're looking for basically what we want to punch through, we want to pull back, and then we want to go long, and that's exactly what happened. It's actually this one right here. Now, there wasn't necessarily a clean base in here. There was a bit of basing in here, and it didn't kind of use it. I mean, if you use this whole one, that's kind of a big area. You're talking about 18 pips in this one. 1 to 3 would go kind of up here. And the problem with this one is, yeah, there's a base and it came lower. And it's kind of like, do you use this full one? Because, here's the old, I guess kind of, let's see. Let's see. How much is that one? Is that better in the 10 range? Uh, yeah, there's your 8 range right there. Your 1 to 3 is sitting right there. In this case, it's only 25. So I would say that you probably had to shorten this one up a little bit because obviously this was a bit big and there was no basing in there. The basing came in above it. So the entry was still exactly the same. The entry was still coming in at the 63.38. It did go up. And again, it jumped about what? About 30 pips, 29.5 pips is where it went before it reversed. And we expect to see that. And then again, it jumped again. So again, that was the trade we talked about yesterday, popping through there. Even though we had great data, all it did was it drove it right back down into that zone, and it's kind of taken off again. So, not a huge trajectory. But again, what do you see from 5:30 on, and really the last hour beforehand? It literally skyrocketed up, right? It was a nice little run. I mean, those are two pretty decent candles. It went 20 pips up right before news, just for it to come crashing back down. Another 30 pips. So it kind of showed you here. And again, there was a couple cleaner examples, but you see it here too. It drove it up. It was running right into an area. We had sellers, and again, not a great zone there because we were already kind of in that Harry Potter trade. But obviously, sellers coming in, and it drove it right up right beforehand, saying, "Yep, raise this price. We need to short this thing," and that's exactly what it did. And again, can't deny that there are buyers down there as well because that's where we had the base and the takeoff. So it kind of went textbook. Unfortunately, right now it's you're kind of done with it. There's not much more you can do with it. Where does it go right now? Obviously, we're gonna have selling coming in. Seeing this level up here And again, really starting from back here. I mean, I know it pushed higher. We're in a racetrack, so the only sellers are sitting here. And at this point, it's only, I mean, if you're going to draw it, saying, okay, well, there's where the sellers are, there's where they pushed to. I'm trying to get the arrow right on. All right, I didn't want to move it, but that's kind of all the sellers we have left. So is that a great area? Not really, right? So you could almost set up another Harry Potter. There's plenty of room up there. There is a little bit of basing right there. So again, the news and the shock is out, right? Wouldn't be surprised now if we start to deteriorate back down, because we've already kind of come back and hit this old level one time, and we've based in here again, and we've hit it again and hit it again. And again, if the dollar continues to get strength now, which I actually think it's justified, we should push back down. But there's not really a great zone to take on the other side. So right now, if you're going to be short, I think the two big areas we're looking for is right now we're looking for a break above 63.67.5. Again, racetrack trade back up into this area up top. Or on the other side, obviously we have buying occurring probably down here at 63 flat. If you want to run fibs on this one, you could look at it this way. You can see that the 23 really didn't really do much. At the 50, not really much. But then again, this is where we start playing with the wicks down here at the 61.8. So we're kind of wedged in. Overall, we are in the top 33%. I would say I'm a little bit more bearish. Overall, I think this one actually is justified to kind of push back down again. I don't really like it long. Again, the Harry Potter trade just went out. So again, are we pulling the trigger here? Not really. I think at this point, it probably is going to look to turn and push lower. So it's kind of where we're at. Aussie yen, right? Aussie yen, is it doing much? Not really. It came through, and again, I'm cool with this one. I like this. Again, not an entry just because it broke through. It needs to come up and actually clear some space before pushing down. You can see in here the 6 o'clock candle got a little bit wild in there and kind of pushed all the way through, and it actually went down to a lower area. So, is it a great Harry Potter trade? Once it starts to base here and starts to chop back and forth, you're like, all right, it should have pulled back by now, right? And then kind of one quick spike up and down, and we're kind of in the same area. So if you didn't get entered, and again, typically once it breaks back down into that zone, you take the entry on the way out. It was quick, but even if you're in it right now and you're positive in there, I would actually kind of get out of this trade early. Kind of not the trade that you're looking for, and here's why, right? We were looking for this push, but again, this is so much basing. It had opportunities to come down, and it didn't. Okay, so if anything, yeah, I still like that one and eventually long, but right now we are starting to put so many sellers up top in there. We already have a clearing candle down. We can actually take this and put this lower down here, because this is really where now we have confirmations of sellers being. It's probably this zone right here. There's a little bit of hiccup. It's kind of a zone on top of a zone. So right now, I would say you need to look for this one to be short. Again, take profit at this 94.60 level. We can take this off, and again, it did give us a long, but not a great example of what we want to get in. And then obviously a lot of sellers. So we got to chop through all those sellers, and if we do, there's not enough space from here to here, right? That's kind of a rather small area before we start slamming into this group right here. And again, could we draw this? You could absolutely draw a zone here and say, listen, there's massive movement off of that. Top side, that's going to be the next level up top where we're looking for, more short base trades. And again, this would be a red on the outside. Okay. Something along those lines. So again, we're kind of skirting down the middle, but I do like this one more short. If you're short, again, 94.60 is where you're looking to take it out. I just tried to wiggle my nose again. I was like, oh, nope. The Advil is not kicking in yet. Let's put this right here. By the way, it doesn't show me who the people are on right now. Debbie's actually in my local area. Now, if I didn't, unfortunately, my next 2 days are like absolutely just swamped, but Debbie's actually in my area. When Debbie comes back, or if you guys see her on Discord, ask Debbie about the ghost. She messaged me yesterday and she's like, I'm ready to go home. I want to go home. She's actually stuck in my town for the next 2 days. And I'm going to try to see if I can clear my schedule to try to meet up with Debbie, but I'm like, it's just so packed right now. It just sucks because Debbie's down here. She messaged me. She's like, yeah, I'm in Annapolis. I'm like, really? I'm like, why didn't you tell me you come here in the first place? I could have cleared it a little bit earlier than right here. But yeah, I'm like swamped. But yeah, when Debbie comes back and she's back in chat, ask Debbie about the ghost. So yeah, she's staying in a haunted mansion, and she's like, I saw a ghost in the mirror. So yeah, definitely troll Debbie in Discord about the ghost. The rest of the reason why she's stuck here is kind of very unfortunate. I don't have the full story about that one, but yes, the ghost, I was laughing last night, and again, my face hurts So I was laughing. But yeah. So anyway, look at that turn and roll. Euro dollar. Again, we talked about euro dollar coming up. We are like, yeah, if we can be right here before news, that would be an awesome trade setup. It didn't. You know what it did? It skyrocketed higher for news. So it did what we expected it to do, but it set the trade up earlier. So it ended up going higher first and then doing this. Didn't go quite as high as what we expected, but it did this, right? So it did do the same trade. We were hoping to get short before the news, but you know what? The market knew, and the market said, "Oh no, 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 not yet." And then it shot it higher, and then that's where the move came in. So again, I said, doing it 24 hours ahead of time, it's always kind of hard to figure out where the market is going to push it. And again, if it had pushed up if it rallied up earlier instead of kind of pulling back a little bit, we would have been there. It did the same thing. We were looking for a push up before news, and it did. Europeans took over right here, and what did they do? They literally took it here at 3 o'clock, went up, said, okay, where's the U.S. news? Let's make it weak, in time for a dollar move. And again, it was a nice little run. I mean, that was 45 pips in a candle and a half. So gotta love it, right? Gotta love it. Hold on one sec. Can't. Nope. Sorry, Melissa. Sorry. Sorry. Everybody has 2 hour early. Not everybody. Reese has full time, but Jen has 2 hour early, and so does Asher. But Asher also has a dentist appointment, so it's like trying to coordinate 3 schedules of who's picking up who, when, taking them where. It's like, oh my god. She's trying to move schedules around so she can come and help. Yeah, so trying to be one parent in 3 places at one time is awesome. So right now, I would assume we probably kind of base more than anything else. Again, the shock value, it was manipulated higher. They came right back in again. So everybody trying to get in late right now is going to get in trouble, and it should rally back up. Again, there are buyers there. It punched right back down into a level. So, right now, looking at this way, you can say, okay, where are their sellers? Obviously, there's going to be some selling pressure between the 50, 61, 8. There is a little bit of a zone there. With the top here with the ascending candles, I do like that one, and that may be actually where we see this one, again, kind of the pull up of people, everybody trying to short it after they saw the news, right? Get stopped out, and then we turn and roll. Let's see, how much is that? Yeah, that's a 10 pip zone. Not the worst of the levels. How much do we have to get there? About 16, 18 pips. So, yeah, this one's setting up for maybe like an 11, 11:30 in the morning kind of roll back down. Um, Again, all the emotion is kind of washed out. The market should take that over, but for the most part, I mean, unless anything major happens news wise, um, well above 7. They don't want to say 8. They're so scared to say 8. Um, yeah, 23-year high, and have remained above 7 for the past 2 months. Yeah, actually, I was reading something this weekend that actually talked about it's approaching 8, it's almost 8, right? And they're like, oh, it's above 7. But I guess if they say it's close to 8, then all of a sudden 8 becomes real, and everyone's like, oh my god, I was paying 2.8, right? Or I'm paying 2.8. Not fun. So, yeah. So, if you're looking for trade today's 105.70 could be a decent area. Understand it is a new zone that was based here. There's really not a lot of support on there. It was getting help from the 61.8. But I don't think that's a bad level. And all it does, if it comes up and hits there and pushes back down again, it'll have to come back down and test. And this is kind of what it looks like. And again, if you want to, because there's obviously no news or anything associated with it, and it's more of an afternoon based trade, a 1 to 3 is sitting there. So you can see it's, these are the buyers that we have to worry about. And it does come in right before them. But we do need to have a clean entry up. If we start basing in this level here, if we kind of come up and we start chopping around a little bit, it definitely makes this one a little bit weaker. So yeah, we got to watch out for that. But right now, I mean, this is more or less flat. I mean, it's down 0.03 after news like that. You would assume that this one would be a monstrous move. But the reality is the Europeans sent this thing up. Would they do it 50 pips before that news just to be able to play the retracement on there? And again, it happens. It is what it is. Euro pound. So we were looking for euro pound to hit the next level, and it did. It came up at, really from this morning, they were not fooled, right? Once all that pound data came out and the European data also, and again, that European and pound data, 2 o'clock in the morning, this data came out that was weak, and then all of a sudden we got it back with, again, still weak, but better than expected, and orange data, and it just shot it higher. So, I mean, it's moving. The reality is it missed this one, and you can see, we hit this one and pulled back, and what did it do? It came up and it based at this level and it fought it and then punched up. And what did it do? It ran into the sellers up here. So it's literally hit every one of these lines that we've drawn up here. And again, that's when you have something that doesn't move much, we can take them all off now because it's finally all the way back up top. But you can see the next one is up the 87.05. So yeah, I like to see one more push. Overall, we have the year over year inflation. This is going to be a hard one because a lot of places we've actually seen it tick up. The forecast is that it's going to tick down. The question is, if it ticks up, is anything really going to change? Right? Can the UK say we're going to raise interest rates again? Yeah, I see. Yes, it's an excavator and a dump truck. Wow. Um, yeah, can that much really really change here? Um, I feel like not really. You know, I do like it. I mean, again, it's a euro pound, so we're not talking about. I mean, we're down to 33 pips for a daily move. It's going to take about another 20 pips to go higher. It is a 4-hour ATR of 14 and a half. So it's over 4 hours worth of movement. It's only got 2 hours before the market closes. Do we find the top up in here in preparation for tomorrow? And I think that could be a valid concern. Again, I'd like it to come all the way up. Again, maybe some of the late night movement happens. But if you look back to see what we're dealing with, this is one of those tricky ones. It's kind of hit and it's hit and it's hit. And yeah, you could say, hey, listen, here's the last clean kind of hit and then a nice little push off and it failed to hit it. Question is, and you can look to see how close we are. Does it rally up? Does it come up and then stop itself? And do we end up here versus up top? Do you take the more aggressive entry? It's one of those ones. See where we are for the news because, again, if the UK follows the same route that everybody else does, could it provide a euro pound short? It could, right? But for me, the reality is how much farther can the pound really raise? They're already kind of in a recession. It's like, do they want to raise more and put more pain? I don't know that they can. I feel like the US has the room because we have we're a little bit more resilient, but I just, I don't know. But it is obviously approaching a level up top. There's two sitting there. And again, the first one is coming in at approximately here. And then again, the second one. So we kind of have a level on level and it's playing with 87 flat, right? 86.96 is the first area. 87.05 is the second. Split it down the middle. You're right at 87 flat. Psychological level for all the zeros. So again, it's kind of setting up for more of a short. So again, maybe if you're a late night trader, look for this one for a potential short. Again, position size yourself because it's not like it's a 25 pip risk or anything like that. You can grab something smaller to the downside. Euro yen. So interesting enough, you can see euro yen. We talked about how big 158 was going to be, and what did it do? It came up this morning at 6 o'clock, right? 6 o'clock. There's not the data here. Let's see. I think it was a news. I think it was just news. It was one of the news down here. Anyway, we talked about how 158 was going to be a big deal. You touch, and again, the thing about this one is it was hit number 4, right? Had you taken this one, we know that 158 is always a big deal. But look at this move, right? So 1 to 5.75. 1 to 3 is only sitting right there, right? 15 for 47. That's actually 15.5. I'm sorry, 15.7. But 45 pips, 15 for 45. It went obviously much farther than that. And it pulled back down and you should have been looking to take profit. It was a nice little trade setup. Looking to see where it pushes, it should have went here. That's where your profit target 1 should have been. And profit target number 2, you could actually have put it here. I wouldn't have gone super deep on there. Obviously, the complete opposite zone is all the way down here, and that's what it used. Oops. Right. That's what it used before pulling back up again. So at this point, we've hit it. We've hit it again and put a low in. It looks like it's going to break through the top side. If you really want to Harry Potter this one, you can. There is room in the other direction. That would look like this. 103 is right there. There's 3.03. So it's a little bit deep because I do think sellers will start coming in, or I'm sorry, yeah, sellers will start coming in at this level right here. You can see it's a little bit deep there. But overall, I think this has the ability to get up to that 158.60. I knew 158 would be a big deal. I mean, that's why we got it marked off there. Especially the fact that we talked about it yesterday. It was at a 61.8 level, right? Yeah, that sees. Oh, a green tractor. Yes. Trade's done now. Remember, we're going to need this to go up, base, and pull back, and then go. But the European market is closing in 2 hours, so just be cautious for that one. Okay. But again, great setup. And again, if you would have hit this one late last night, you were still fine as it pulled back up before the news, and then boom, straight down. So, a couple different trades, a couple different entries that you could have had on that one. But nice mover, and again, gotta love 150. Gotta love all those zeros. That's why these things happen. Formed it here, and again, touch here. Nice little trade here. Boom, all the way down. Again, again, again. And now we're finally coming through and breaking, which, again, multiple trades, it should go higher. But there is the top side of this one. Not opposed to this one. But again, unfortunately, the European market is going to be out of this one pretty soon. So you're not going to have as much there. All right. Pound dollar. So pound dollar. Where's the move? Right here. Big punch. And what do the Europeans do? They shot it straight back up again. So, overall, the pound doesn't, it's down 0.42. We've had pound weakness, and you can see this one surging back up again as people are kind of, getting, profit taking is occurring in the dollar. It's an okay trade. We can, push this across, and you can see yesterday afternoon at 2 o'clock, we were hitting that same level we mentioned. It kind of burst above. There's a little bit of backstopping on there. You got a red, green, red right here, and then we had a little bit of a pullback into that zone. So, overall, the market wasn't fooled at this one. It raised it up in time and took it down, and now it's just, the profit taking is bringing it back. So, I think this one has the least potential right now. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if we run all the way up. Again, we do have the big news for the year over year. It's 50 pips. That would be a pretty weak dollar play. Yeah, this one is also there. Fortunately, being 45 pips away, it's only got a 4-hour ATR of 36. So, again, by the time it can move that much, the market's done, right? The market's closed. So, um, do we want to pull there? Trying to see if it's too much. I was hoping that this is a little higher. It's not. I still like it short when the dollar strength comes back in. Again, I think we got enough news releases to get this one a turn. Only 13. Wish this was a little bit better of a zone. 2. I hate to go down to the 15-minute on this one because then you're like really searching for things. Um, Reality is this is really surging back at 10 o'clock. So close at 10:32. Be cautious of this one. Reason I say be cautious of this one is because again, this one. So here, let me tell you everything that's good about it. Again, easy draw from top to bottom. You can see now that the bottom is pushed all the way down, the 61.8 is bisecting that zone. I'm on a 15-minute, which is kind of like a negative that we have to find the zone on a 15-minute. But it did rally right up and then hold, and then bam, the news kind of came in and slammed it. Now again, not a proxy. It's a dollar yen, or it's a dollar pound dollar, not the dollar yen. What? That is working. Here. You do here. Put it in there. You want me to put the toy in timeout? I'll put the toy in timeout. Here, get me the other truck. I'll do it with the other truck. Here, you do it. Here, you do it. I do like that we are approaching a 10:30 reversal time, so we would expect a spike off of that. Anybody that was trying to no what problems, huh? You having problems today? No, no, buds. No, no, but here, you want this? Here, here. This for everything. All right. So he's mad that the toy's not working the way he wants. Anyway, um, I like that it's a 60 to 1 8 now that we had the big push down. I like that it's 10:30 reversal. I like that it's a one candle base. I dislike that it's a 15-minute interval. Um, so again, take it for what it's worth. It's not my favorite candle formation because again, there is a body in the middle. There's wick on both sides, but the reality is it is a zone. You got to look at it. It's rather small, so I think that's not the worst thing in the world. Um, Obviously, again, you don't want to take too much risk on something like this because it really can move. But again, with the dollar being involved and the pound kind of bowing out pretty soon, if we can get back up here, it could be a nice little trade. And again, it's only 8 for 25. So what? You want Peppa? Peppa? This one? You want to see this one? Missing color? What's that? I don't know what that is, bud. So yeah, not a bad little trade setup. Pound yen, again, we were calling for this to push back down again. Obviously, we didn't talk about a big spike in there, and we are looking for more of a push. It's a little bit off from where it is right now. And again, this is probably some of the yen more than anything else. Good thing is though, it did blow the zone up, and we mentioned that we'd been here before. Let me go back down to a 30-minute. We've seen one spike and another spike in there, so it's actually nice that this one has actually been pulled out right now. You could run it here. The other thing you could do is again, this is kind of the big push. You could look at the push here because this is an uptrend again. And then all of a sudden, this is the most recent trend. So we can run high, up and down. You can see, even though it came down, it did nothing at the 23. It just was like, nah, you don't exist. So you could run it from here to here. But even at this point, the 786 is about to be tagged. So not much we can do with it. So I'm going to punch it higher than this one. Yeah, it based in there. And I was like, nope. And then kind of came up. And unfortunately, it ran into 61.8 as well. It ran into this up here. So right, you're gonna leave that right now. Right now, that's gonna be another sell. Let's put this actually. Put it right on the line. Let's put it there. I'm not gonna use the 50 again, even though it based in there. Again, base here popped up, came back down, based again. I'm not gonna use it again. I think this one has the power to kind of punch through, being a proxy. It is 48 pips, but it's less than a 4-hour ATR on this one. So let's pull this. This one was good. This one's down. We're good there. Um, um, So yeah, decent trade. Looks very very similar to the other one. I actually like this one a little bit better. Again, we'll see if we can get through the 50. It's gonna hiccup in here, but I think we should be able to push. Love the cooling work on this one. Dollar CAD. All right, so there was the trade from yesterday. We talked about that one yesterday morning. Again, nice little Harry Potter motion on that one. Again, enough hits that we didn't need it. This one didn't do the telltale as much, but funny enough, what did it do? Shot straight up, found the buyers up at the 61, and now again parabolic retracement more or less on this one. Let's pull these off. We don't need this zone at all anymore. We'll pull that. Again, there's your backstop of the 61. There's the turn. Um, hmm, hmm. I'd be cautious with this. right? Base again, supported it, supported it, supported it, supported it, went deeper every time. Supported here, kind of a new hit, and then supported it, supported it, supported it, supported. So it's definitely an area, and there's a lot of hits in there. Um, can we reliably say, yeah, definitely take it long again? Be cautious with it. Um, I mean, I guess if you could get a confirmation entry off of it, but even this big spike here, not really. I mean, it's we can maybe use it for news. Um, I mean, building permits probably shouldn't jack it much. Um, Powell can move it. I think we're gonna. I mean, I think there's gonna be somewhat of a reversal in here. Do I love this? I mean, again, look at the zone formation here. Right. Let me zoom in a little bit. Is the zone formation great in here? Not really. I mean, it spent a lot of time in there bouncing back and forth, and finally it broke, and then it came and used it, came back and used it again. Kind of got front run on here, but again, this was a news space. So I mean, I think it comes down to here. I think we start to go sideways, right? I think we probably start to base in here. There's not enough room for a 1 to 3 down. Um, I think you look for this pattern, right? And when I say this pattern, this is what I'm talking about. The green, the red didn't come back, and then the green closed right there, right? I think that's kind of the pattern that you're looking for. If we could copy and paste this, see how when it went. So yeah, let's zoom this in just so it's real big so everybody can see it. Green candle up, red candle came down, right? It came down here to a bottom. It did not break through the bottom, and then it closed up top. Okay. And it did pull back, and that's what you wanted to do. It pulled back here, and then when it kind of left the top, it came back and it pulled. So it grabbed in both places. If we can get this pattern over here, I don't think it's a bad long. Okay, but we have to see the confirmation. It's not a number one hit, so be very cautious. Do not use this as a number one hit. It's been here enough. It could run pretty deep in there. It's not a gigantic zone. It's about 16 or 17, so it's a little bit more than that 10 for 30 that we typically like. But again, if we do come down here in base, we could get a confirmation entry off of it. Right now, as much as this one has moved, I think maybe again 74 pips up. It's got a 76 daily ATR, so it was basically 1 day of movement up, 1 day of movement back down in 2 hours. Um, People will be getting exhausted with this one. If we can get and again, not really a great green, red, green kind of entry over here anywhere, but if we come down and start basing in here, I guess there could be a case made on this one as well. We're kind of backstopped. The 136. Yeah. 136 is sitting right here. So the zone is kind of supported by a whole number. That helps a little bit in this case, but it's been here before. Maybe this one shrinks down a little bit into that zone. Um, so whoops, I'm trying to get this out of the way. If you're looking for a reversal, like I said, it's a parabolic move up, and this one is actually a parabolic move back to the downside. I think there actually could be a reversal play in this one. And again, with it being somewhat more of a monstrous kind of large bodied candle, just so you can see where the profit target is. The 1 to 3 is only there. It's only like halfway back, so it's not even like a anything too full, right? So not the worst of trades. And typically we don't see that boom boom. It doesn't normally happen this fast. Um, no. Um, so yeah, and again, very fast moving this one, but that's why this pair is what it is. All right, so we talked about this coming down. I missed it by a little bit. I'm just gonna let you guys know. I missed it. We were looking for it to come down and go down and go down. They rallied it up, and what do? They took it all the way down. Right, 5 o'clock in the morning. You guys like, holy crap! It's in the wrong situation. Hurry up, put that weakness in there, and they did. They drove it down. So I mean, you can see right here we had the arrow talking about when the news was coming in. You can see that it missed it by just the smallest of margins. It was like, oh geez, 2.2 pips, 2.2 pips. And then once it started to come back up, you're looking at this 830, it spiked. So it was like, oh God. And it was a nice move, 38 pips higher. And then this one obviously turned and reversed right back down again. So we're back in that level. We're kind of back in the range of 89.93. Did we take it again? It hasn't hit obviously what it's doing. And we said it yesterday. This entire area here is buyers, right? We had the push. And again, looking at, looking for the, kind of like a new zone built. You had a new zone built there. And what happened? It touched that one, right? But then you could say, well, wait a second, there's a new zone here as well, right? And that's where it touched. And that's why I was like, yes, there's levels on levels on levels, right? So we knew that this entire area had the ability to kind of provide, an area where buyers would step in, and they did, right? They stepped in here on the first on this one, right? And then it came back down and it was sitting in that same level. Again, the aggressive entry, right in time for news for a pop. So yeah, it does it did what it did. So I'd like to see it basing again. If we can get a green, red, green confirmation coming out of anything in this area, again, this entire area down here is fine. Look for it to push back up again. Running from high to low, you can see that when it did hit, it didn't really have any problems with the 23.6. It went higher, came down, sliced through it like it didn't even exist. So at this point, we are looking for it to come up to the 50 range. There's a lot of wick here, so it's going to be hard to draw this one, but probably somewhere along that line, which again is great. Wedge between the 50 and the 61.8 is a great little kind of touch there. So right now, I say if we can get up into this range, look to start taking shorts. If we can get a confirmation, obviously a base first and then a confirmation. We already have the 89.93 down here. So look for the confirmation somewhere kind of similar to what we have over here for that one to go back long again. Now, dollar yen. Look at the spike in the dollar yen. Obviously, the 6 o'clock yen spike. What'd you do? Did you turn it off again? Oh, God. What are you doing now? Nope. Hit a button and he's in podcast. Normally he's buying health insurance. Um, Today it's podcasts. He's got it all messed up again. I'm so over iPads. He locked it up yesterday, and I'm like, oh, wait, that's only a 3-minute video. That's not gonna work. Yeah, he locked it up yesterday. He like did a screenshot, but then it was locked and then it was frozen. Um, yeah, I was like ready to just throw it in the trash. I was like, Ernest would be laughing at me right now. I called Melissa. I was like, call me. I was like, hey, I'm ready to smash this tablet. Like, none of the intuitive, like, oh, well, hold the power button because that will turn it off and help reset it. And then online it says use the volume, hold the volume button and the other button, and that works. And then she's like, no, try the one on the face, not the volume button. So then when I did the one on the face and the power button, then it finally turned off and reset. I was like, I've tried like 6 things. I'm like, this is way too much time. But I have no idea what he did. He like screenshotted it, but then guided access it to where I couldn't access any other menu. I was like, I hate this thing. Like, this is just driving me nuts. So yes, if you're an iPhone person or an iProduct person, good luck. I can't stand it. So right now, yesterday we talked, and you can see we're basically where we were yesterday. There's almost no movement. You can see dollar yen, we're minus 8 pips from where we were yesterday. And you may say, well, wait a second, there's been so much movement. Yeah, there's the big spike up and down. And again, we've seen big spikes like this coming in the past. We're right where we were. It did not surge. Again, great dollar data, and all the dollar data was able to do was kind of pop up. And let's see, what is it? The 8 to 830, 24 pips. Everything else is like 50 pips, right? 24 pips. And the reason why is because we know we got a lot of sellers sitting up here where those, intervention resources come in. Today's move, not quite as big as the last big one, but it was a pretty decent move to the downside. It looks eerily similar, right? This one, right? Eerily similar. If you look at the percentage wise of how big the actual, let's see, of the whole thing, right? You can see that it's about, let's see, there's your body right there. And you can see the body's about 25% of the overall move, right? If you look at today's candle, right? Look at today's candle, right? And do kind of the same thing we just did, right? Go from there to there, the body, and then bring it down. You will see that it is also right about, it's 23.6, but almost about 25%, right? About the same thing. So eerily similar in the two moves, right? Eerily similar. But where we are right now, again, we're being high right here. I don't know that we're going to get enough dollar strength. And you're seeing, this is what happens when you kind of go up against a big kind of brick wall. And that's, again, 150 is kind of like that brick wall. So we're seeing it. Overall, I would say one thing to watch out, we do have this clearing wick now that goes all the way down. If we continue to get dollar weakness today, I would say that there's probably a zone sitting right down here that we've pierced through. If we're able to punch down, start basing in here, again, up, down, or, that's one potential, or we may see this where it comes down, it bases here, goes down, comes up, and then goes. So those are kind of the two scenarios of what we could see, is that, or we could see this, right? Coming through this area. I think both are decent to the downside, back down to that 149. So yeah, yeah. Oil. Yeah. So not really much different. It says that it's up a little bit yesterday. The only reason why is because we were still sitting over here yesterday. We had pushed down. You can see it at 10 o'clock was a reversal, and then it pushed all the way up to 87.60 by 12 o'clock, and we're kind of getting close there. So it's about to deteriorate. Again, I think oil right now is so locked in with a geopolitical reason. You saw a little bit of kind of chop back and forth. Like, well, what chopped this back and forth at 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning? It's a statement from Iran that preemptive actions are being taken or in the next few hours. And like I said, it's not necessarily we're going to start shooting missiles at Israel, but it could be we're bringing reserve units online. We're moving tank forces. There could be a lot of different things. We're activating this regiment. I mean, there could be a lot of those things. We haven't seen or heard them yet that I've been able to find. But again, understand oil is a hotbed, extra high risk right now because again, China's talking to Saudi Arabia. They're getting comments. If Saudi Arabia makes a statement, Iran makes a statement, then it's kind of like, large nations are saying, Israel, don't go too far. You're going too far. You're doing too much, right? There's a difference. And again, it's just one of those things that it's just horrible on both sides. I think, again, civilian deaths getting involved in war zones are rough, it just like I get both sides, but yeah, a lot of civilians are dying by the way that it's happening. Again, urban warfare is the ugliest warfare that exists, right? It's not soldiers in trenches, it's children in apartment buildings. So a little bit different. This is why this one is charged right now, and that's why we're not seeing massive movement up and down. Now, natural gas. Funny enough, it's weakening. And we saw the Harry Potter. We're basically where we were yesterday. It says it's down 1, but really we peaked yesterday at 10:30. We're kind of there right now. So, in 24 hours, do we have much? Nah, kind of peak back up again and just continue to deteriorate. So the good thing is we did actually go lower. If we draw a line in here, you can see it did go. It had click the button. There we go. It is actually lower. So again, in the impulse move, our correction move is up again, but we have broken through those sellers. Now the question is, are we going to come down and we're going to start hitting this lower level? We know that we have some drama down here at 301. We mentioned it yesterday. The 301 level's right there. Oh, I missed it by just 2. Right there. I think that's where the next push is for the natural gas. Again, it is getting colder. Today is actually up. It's like 58, 60 degrees, but again, I'm still resistant to turn it on. We're not seeing the desire, again, obviously there's not an extreme in either direction, so it weakens natural gas. So we should see this continue to push lower. Unfortunately, no trade set up in the near future. Gold, again, we talked about gold. Again, if we got a clean breakthrough 131, look for 145. It did come up in a gap. Now, it has, again, cycled back and forth. I think it's going to run into sellers right now. Again, it's had its push this morning. And if you look to see where the European Open is, I think it's very important to bring this up. There's like the 2:33 o'clock time frame. So it had already kind of based in there. And then we got the trajectory higher. The Europeans are going to be stepping out of the market. And the question is, will gold strength or will dollar strength now start to resume when they are out? That should push this back down again. I still like that we came down and we kind of we didn't touch it, but we did kind of grab the base here. I think that's fine. We touched it yesterday. We came down again. It's kind of lining this one up. Again, this is a small little Harry Potter. The risk on it's a little bit different. But I think it's a decent push when we come through and break. And again, right now, we may even be able to shorten that a little bit to here. I don't want to shorten it too much. It's not really that big of a zone, but you can see we definitely have the room. And again, a 1 to 3 looks something along those lines. It's a nice push up. When we start pushing back down again, this would only push it back down to 1888. So it's not even that far. So again, we're not quite there yet. But again, if we, this one is, breaking through 1905, not a bad push down. Okay. Silver. So silver, again, why is it up here? What are we doing up here? There was a touch again. There was a hit. We're basing before. It's like, oh crap, it's going to break. It shot back down. It got those buyers. It went through. It broke that level, which again, totally fine. And what we're using the 23. Now, though, what are we saying? We're starting to see this. So what we need the dollar strength to come back in. At 10:30 is when we typically would like to see that. Yeah, we don't have to go back. There's always zones up here, but we are starting to form a top. So I would imagine that we're probably back down, most likely in this 260 range. I think we'll have a little bit of a hard time clicking through. There's Wednesday at 8:30ish for news. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a really slow grind across. Like I said, I love this. This is my favorite kind of topping pattern. If we do pull back down again, again, we are right on the 23 mark, which is obviously important. I thought I had 23 marked off. Let's do it real quick. The other way, but right there. There we go. Right. So if that does become the top for us, love it. I think it's great. Three candles descending like that at a 23 mark. I'm all over that. Love that. Love that. So I think that's a good run. Um, Tesla, you can see it open low, right? Everyone's like, oh my God, it's so bad. And it's rallying back again as it should. Apple kind of doing the same thing. Had that big push down. And it's like, oh, it's not bad. And again, we talked about 175 being a big deal. And that's exactly what we bounced off of. Now, VIX, again, VIX not really doing much. It's dropping as it should. It pulled up a little bit for that news. Not really a big deal. The dollar, again, full up, full back down again. And we're exactly where we were before news. ES, let's see if we would have had anything. And again, kind of a hard day for ES, but 945, yeah. Yeah, it came down. So the hard part about this one is it really accelerated from that data. And again, should it have? Yeah, kind of, because what's going to happen is all the retail traders at 9:30 are going to be like, "Holy crap, short this." They're raising interest rates, and you can see it did nothing but go straight up. So it's kind of a trap scenario. Um, there's a zone from yesterday, but all the overnight zones were sitting up top. So unfortunately, the news kind of hijacked this one. And again, is this a long at the open? Yeah, I think so. We mentioned it before that hey, it was not bad data. It's something to be celebrated. But you can see again, the drama back in here is everybody trying to short this because oh my God, that was horrible data. The Fed's going to raise interest rates, and now all of a sudden they shorted it, and now it's taken off higher. And again, people spending money means good earnings. So again, not the worst. So again, I think this. I said before, rolling into the green. I don't. I don't think that's a bad. I don't think that's the wrong move for today. And NQ did the same exact thing. You can see the 8:30 data drove it down. Everybody's like, "Holy crap, this is horrible!" And then all of a sudden at 9:45, we found our bottom, and now it's just taken off. When we're, the 9:30 candle. Here's the 9:30 open. Um, right here. And, yeah, it's red, but had you gotten short at the open, you were like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, what's happening? And it's going up. I mean, people are spending money. It's not bad. So it's continuing to rally higher. I still think that this 1535 or 372. No, but here, drink this. You're gonna make a huge mess with that lemonade. I still think that's probably where it tops out today. But again, 100% agreement. This is doing exactly what it should have. Is there was an opening print on this one? Nah, I mean you're not really looking to go short over here. Again, these were from Monday morning at the European Open, so not really what we're looking for opening print. And I have to agree. I think long was the way to go today. YM. Again, 915. There's a zone there, a confirmed zone, and that's kind of where we were hitting. This is what it used yesterday. Is it the ideal spot? No. It did open. This is the opening print. Is the green right there? That's where it opened for today. I don't. What do you want? I don't. Would you stop hitting the buttons? Here's the excavators. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Look at that. He's gonna dump. He has like a half a glass of lemonade. He's gonna dump it everywhere. So again, opening print strategy. It's not. I mean, here's the confirmed opening from yesterday morning. That again, obviously that worked yesterday morning. Had you taken here, it's not really opening print, but not a bad opening print based trade. Obviously, if you've drawn a 1 to 3 on there, I believe that you are out of this one. Let me get it set right for you guys. I think it's out. 2.2. Yeah, 3 is right there. So had you traded it, again, it is a long. It doesn't actually quite meet the criteria. But again, had you been trading just normal, saying, hey, listen, I'm looking for confirmed zones. Is it a confirmed zone? Absolutely. It got confirmed yesterday morning at 10. So it's 100% a confirmed zone. So you could have traded it. And again, it turned exactly where it should have. I think this one goes higher as well. And then Russell, again, Russell didn't even pull back. What did Russell do? It pushed itself down. It's like, yep, let me go, let me go, let me go. It opened and boom, just took off. And explain why Russell should be higher. Again, people spending more money, more of that trickles down to small businesses. It's great for them in their earnings, and it helps out particularly with the higher interest rate. So again, 100% agree. This is exactly what Russell should be doing today at the open. And again, anybody trying to short this thing at the open, they paid with a price very, very fast. Again, I would look for 1800 today on the Russell. All right. So did I not hit the go button? No, it says successfully bought. So why is it not? There we go. Oh, you know what? I did on a different window. That's why. I'm like, oh crap, I messed this one up. All right. All right, we only got 3 guys in today. Like I said, Debbie is not on with us today because Debbie's alive still. When I say that, it sounds really, really bad. Debbie is stranded in Annapolis, down the street. I know where she's staying. If I could clear my schedule, I'd love to meet up with her, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it or not. I'm trying my best though. Trying my best, but dentist appointments, Unity days, all kinds of other stuff like that. I'm just swamped in 2 days. If she would have told me ahead of time, could have planned better. So I'm mad at Debbie for that one. But again, ask Debbie about the ghost. So, all right, I'm gonna close it down. Winner of today's drawing is wow, wow. That was number 3 too. Ernest, Jesus, what happened? I feel like, hey, Ernest, I'm on your side on this one. I feel like it. I feel like today was rigged. I feel like, hey, you've outbid him 3 days in a row, and he's been able to take this one home. I don't know what's going on. Rainier was like, I'm going with one. I'm gonna stay out of this one. But man, Neuro comes in there, and he, whoo, don't know what's happening over there. But Neuro gets us 3 in a row, so we are reset for tomorrow. So, man, go Neuro. Whew. Ernest is mad. I'd be mad too, Ernest. That's 3 days in a row. You outbid him big, and he went in cheap, and he won. So I don't know, Neuro. I think the Powerball is high. You should go buy a Powerball ticket today, or at least a couple of them. Right? $10 KTS Powerball ticket, and then we share it by everybody. That's what I'm saying right now. So, all right, with that, I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Look for again news tonight. Bullock may move things around a little bit. Again, industrial production won't be a big deal, but tomorrow morning, this CPI number for the UK could be a really good one. So look to trade that one as the dollar retraces its way. So, and again, I don't know, maybe we hear what the Iranian in a few hours. We're going to be doing something. Well, maybe we'll figure out what the heck that is, and we'll get some some more knowledge. So, all right, I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Take care. See you then.